joining us at the Corona Post Show for the Surf City El Salvador Pro presented by Corona. As we descend upon Punta Roca, day one surf action here, and we got some work done on the cobblestones at Punta Roca. River Chilama right in the background. That's our contest site. Zooming in to our set where you'll join us for the Corona Post Show. I'm Kaipo along with Felicity Palmentier and Peter Mel, and I'm going to start with you, Flick. We got a lot of surfing done today. Women's opening round, men's opening round, men's elimination round as well.
Yeah, it was a massive day of surfing, but I think the star of the show was Punta Roca, just providing amazing waves and amazing canvases for all our surfers. We saw excellent rides from both the men and the women, and yeah, I'm here for it. I'm looking forward to potentially another big day tomorrow.
Yeah, potentially, as we'll get into that Surfline forecast a little bit later. Highlight of the day for you, Pete.
Dawn to dusk, so we've had a lot to think about. You threw me out on the spot here. Biggest moment. Oh, geez. I mean, I think just comes to mind personally was the performance by Steph Gilmore. It was a surprising performance for me. Usually in those rounds, she likes to build momentum. She came out firing, and she showcased a bit of surfing that I hadn't seen necessarily from her as often as I've seen from her. There's been moments, but I loved it. I think that was my highlight moment today.
All right. My favorite moment was when 14 world titles were out in the water. That's right. Another one for the ages. Kelly Slater flick against Gabe Medina, and Slater, he came out really quick out of the blocks with this wave, but Medina was just too much for the 11-time world champ.
Yeah, this was the greatest of all time versus one of the greats of our sport, Gabriel Medina, and I love to watch it. I was actually up in the Rebel Athlete Zone, and it was pretty full up there. All the guys on tour watching. Some of the girls came down to watch as well, but yeah, it was Gabe that came out in front just with this silky smooth surfing on his backhand, just going vertical up into the lip time after time again.
Yeah, Pete, that was a 7.5 for the 3-time world champ. Had a backup of that 5.7. That was enough to earn his spot into the round of 16.
It was the momentum shift. Kelly mentioned it in his interview, talking about they were kind of even, kind of matching scores, and then that was the 7.5 that made the big change. It took the momentum. Kelly then ended up, kind of being behind the 8 ball, had to kind of go big. It didn't work out for him. Gabe just kept pushing it. Good heat from hooter to hooter, though. I will say it was entertaining.
It was a clash of the champions. Let's take a look at the numbers, and that 13.2 was enough to earn Medina a spot in the round of 16, as well as Gabe Medina has climbed up above that final 5 cut line. Medina now in 5th in the live rankings. When we look at the live rankings, and so that was a big heat for Gabe Medina. We had Jack Robinson go down in that elimination round. So Gabe Medina above the cut line, Pete.
That's it, right? I mean, that's the goal. I think that was probably his goal coming into this event, was like, hey, get myself into that final 5. He's done that so far, but ultimately he still has a big chance here. He's done well last season. Why not try to get the exact kind of result or even better, and really stamp himself and get another spot or 2 in that final 5.
Well, he's definitely got some momentum. Also building momentum, Kyle Belly. He took out the last heat of the day. He's into the round of 16. Let's hear from Kyle.
All right, Kyle getting out of the water and immediately said, thank goodness. Better after that heat was over. What did it take to get the win?
Yes, I've been going through so much this past few months. Yeah, it's just like, I don't know, like you start losing one heat and then it becomes like a snowball that you're like, okay, how do I get out of that hole? And the more you try to find, the more you ask yourself, like, is the board good? Is the fins good? And you ask yourself all these questions to try to get better and become the person you were in the beginning of the year. And for me, like with all the effort I've been putting since last year, like it's just inevitable to put a lot of pressure on myself to surf good. And in the free surf, I was surfing good, and in the heat, I'm not able to show. I'm getting nervous, and I don't know what it takes. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let my beard grow until I make a heat. And I think I'm gonna shave it tonight, finally. I'm so done.
So done with the beard, but on to the next round. It's such an interesting thing when you start talking about spiraling into what do I need to do? What do I need to do? For you, you decided that growing out the beard is what you needed to do to just turn things around. But mentally, what did it take for you?
Yeah, it takes so much mentally. Yeah, back at home, we do everything we can in our power. Psychologists, eating, supplements, and we work so much on the boards and so much on the technique, and like it becomes frustrating after a certain point you don't have anything more to work, and that means you got to just surf and try to relax and have fun. And I've been struggling to do that on the past few events. Glad I made the cut. So like now I can relax and actually perform. That's all I want to do is perform and show my best and show people, trying to inspire someone every single day.
I feel like you did that today. How was your surfing? You feel like you surfed freely today?
Yeah, I'm finishing my waves. It's just that I have a lot more in the tank. I feel like I'm always going 120%, and sometimes I gotta go 70, 80% just to like find a balance. And like the idea is there. I don't think I surf close to my 80 or 100%. So like I have so much left in the tank, but I gotta fine tune like my, mindset and relax and let it play.
We look forward to seeing it in the next round. Parabéns.
Obrigado.
Wow, hey, that was a great interview, and that's really, Flick, a testament to the emotional roller coaster that the championship tour can be.
Yeah, he spoke about in that interview about he hopes to inspire people. I think he did with that post-heat interview and with the performance he put in that heat. It takes a lot to open up like that and to allow yourself to be that vulnerable. And he went into detail there, which, some guys will be like, yeah, I'm having a bit of a hard time. But he was able to be that open with us, which was really nice to hear that and hear the struggles that he's been through. And I guess tomorrow we'll see him without a beard.
We're going to look forward to a clean shaven Kyle Valley when we return to competition. I want to pivot the conversation now, Pete, to the women's opening round. Heat number 3 had 2 world champs in it, but it was Steph Gilmore, Pete, that went excellent in this heat against Tyler Wright and Joanne Defay.
Yeah, this is the moment of me and my day today. It was this performance, and I think I started to kind of pinpoint what it was. A little freer in her equipment. She usually rides this pintail, a little tighter pintail from Darren Hanley. This one, a little rounded squash. So she has a little extra freedom to bring that style of surfing. And she brought it, and she's doing it with confidence, which is another great part of this, because a confident Steph Gilmore is a very deadly Steph Gilmore. Obviously sitting in a very similar position, and one of the best interviews of the day as well.
I wasn't privy to the post-heat interview, but I was privy to the surfing she did, and I absolutely loved it. I mean, she's a point break specialist, sharpening her blade quite clearly here today at Punta Roca. You can see her coach there, Tom. They're probably stoked after that heat, and we'll see if she can keep carrying this momentum through to the quarters where she now is.
Take a look at those numbers. An 8.17, 8-point ride. Excellent two-wave heat total for Stephanie Gilmore. She's our defending champ here at the Surf City El Salvador Pro. Can she go back-to-back? Pete, good start.
Yeah, it is a good start. And ultimately, and that was part of that interview I was going to mention, is it was brought up by AJ, hey, this is a similar position you were in last year. All of a sudden, what is it going to take? And I guess it's good performances. That's exactly what it's going to take, and that confidence is building for her. So she's looking like she's on the right road.
Well, what is the swell and the wind and all of that stuff going to take us, Pete? Let's dig into the Surfline forecast as we look into the future, the next few day forecast here at the Surf City El Salvador Pro.
Take a look at that little green spot right there at El Salvador, right? There's a shadow, the Galapagos. That's that little light blue thing right off of the Ecuador coast of Peru up there. That thing's kind of shadowing us a little bit, and that's kind of affecting the sets in regards to how consistent they are and the energy that's carried. But I will say, going into the next few days, we're going to see this swell tomorrow, and I feel like it's going to get out of that shadow slightly. We're going to see it kind of go, and you even saw it tonight. It seemed like a little more consistent. Tide helped it. But going out, it's going to slow down. There is opportunity there. We're always going to have to wake up and look at it. But ultimately, I think tomorrow is a pretty big day. We're going to do it again. Travis is on point. He wants to get some heats done. Yeah,
the swell is going to be there. We're going to have to be really mindful of the wind. Flick, we had a great activation here at Punta Roca, inspiring young women to surf. That was the Rising Tide. Let's take a look at some of that inspirational surfing, gathering with some of the best women athletes in the entire world at the Rising Tides.
We are in Punta Roca in El Salvador for the 7th stop of Rising Tides for this 2023 CT season, and it is a perfect day for these girls to get a chance to get in the water with some of their heroes. We have 20 of the best up-and-coming surfers from El Salvador, including Leilani McDonegal. She is the wild card for this event.
I remember growing up and being the only girl that would surf where I was from, so having that community of girls unite is a really powerful thing, especially in small growing surfing communities, so it's really cool to see that happen here.
y pues tenerlas aquí en mi casa, no sé, me siento súper emocionada. Y antes la veía solo en el tele, en el teléfono, y hoy las puedo tener aquí para mí, con todas las chicas salvadoreñas, y nada, súper emocionada, súper feliz.
This is once in a lifetime. Since I started surfing Punta Roca, which is my favorite wave, I've never surfed it with just girls, let alone no one else. And so yeah, it's very exciting to see everyone like come together. It's like my dream come true. I'm always like, girls, come, let's paddle out.
All the girls are ripping. I don't know, I love meeting new girls in the local place that we're at and hearing their stories where they, you know, how they became surfers, and yeah, I just love it.
Every single rising tides, we see the light come on for at least one of these surfers, and it just clicks. When you're in the water with these women that you aspire to be like, now you believe that you can be one too.
Rising Tide!
That was a great activation, the rising tides here at Punta Roca, Flick.
Yeah, it was awesome. I loved what one of the girls said, that she's never surfed Punta Roca with only women out there in the lineup and the girls. And that's a super special thing to do, especially with people that and the women that you've looked up to, you know. If you can't see it, you can't be it. So really cool initiative by Jessie, Miley Dyer and WSL. I love it, and I love it seeing all the content that comes from each event.
I love it too. Well, you guys ready to dig into today's top 5? And we're going to start that top 5 with an inspirational performance here at Punta Roca. It's the comeback kid, Pete. Seth Moniz is back in action. He's on to the round of 16.
Looking good, isn't he? You know, there's been a little tentativeness in his approach. Obviously, injury. Now looking 100%. Bringing a very excited surfer, and also doing big moves like that. We've been used to him doing those types of moves, but it's been a little while. I love that it's back here, so good job to Seth and today. Moving on into that round of 16.
Yeah, confident Hawaiian. Number 4, his name is Rio Waida, and he took down John Florence in the elimination round, Flick.
Yeah, he did. He surfed so amazing. I think this has got to be the biggest heat win of his career so far. And yeah, he's got to be taking a lot of inspiration from this, and yeah, belief as well to know that he can take it to the best. I mean, but, you know, John, not to be scoffed at, I mean, he did drop an excellent score as well, so it wasn't an easy win either. I mean, look at John throwing turns like that, just absolutely laying the board on rail, throwing into a huge layback. Rio taking a moment by himself to take it all in.
Number 3, the yellow jerseys, they both advanced. Griffin Colapinto, they came out swinging against Callum Robson and Brian Perez to earn his spot into the round of 16, Peter.
I loved it. You know, again, seeing Griffin in yellow and how he has had to approach it with the number 1 ranking that yellow jersey signifies. Obviously, it's inspired him. He wears it well.
Carissa Moore, yellow jersey, came out, and she advanced into the quarterfinal, Flick.
Yeah, she did. I love this wave that she surfed, scoring an 8-point ride, beautiful surfing on that Matt Biola's shapes, and she's just looking really confident. She was definitely going to take this through to the quarterfinals, which she'll be stoked to be catapulted straight in.
Number 2, defending champ, 8-time world champ as well, Steph Gilmore goes excellent, Peter. 8.17, 8-point ride, 16.17, 2-wave total for Steph Gilmore in a convincing victory.
Well, I liked that it was number 2. It was my favorite moment of the day, but you know what? I don't get to choose these top 5. So anyway, number 2 is good.
Great rail work on the DHD, and smiles on the deck for Steph Gilmore. Number 1, Flick, Leonardo Fioravanti, highest wave total of the day, a 9-point ride, 7.5. Bravo, Fioravanti.
Yeah, bravo is definitely the right word. Just amazing surfing, best surfing of the day, 9-point ride, and a 7.50 for a 16.5 heat total. And things are looking good for Leo. I mean, he started off the year, you know, pretty good, and then he had a bit of a sleepy moment, so he's going to be taking confidence from this resolve, and just beautiful surfing there, really laying the board on rail and looking so confident.
What a journey. Had to re-qualify for the Challenger Series, won that Challenger Series in 2022, earned his spot back on tour. Now he's back on tour, on fire. Leo Fioravanti, our #1 moment of today. I want to get your final thoughts, Pete, on today's action.
Fingers crossed we see the swell hold through tomorrow. We're going to have another big day going into tomorrow. You know, you've got that round of 16 on tap. You've got the elimination round for the women. So there's a lot to look forward to. And ultimately, I think Punta Roca will perform for us as well. You know, fingers crossed.
Your thoughts, Flip?
Did I sound confident up there?
Yeah, I reckon you sounded confident enough. My thoughts are that I think the swell is going to hold. I think we're going to see another really big day. So get ready. It's going to be exciting. And, yeah, I'm looking forward to the women's elimination round.
Yeah, well, thank both of you for this post-show. Remember, check in, worldsurfleague.com, 6:15 local time for the update. Meanwhile, enjoy the end-of-day highlights. Thank you for joining us. It's a beautiful morning. The Surf City El Salvador Pro presented by Corona. Phone a friend because we are starting off with a big heat. Getting a quick start, the 11-time world champ.
Ethan Ewing's pop!
The body mechanics, the technique, the skill of Ethan Ewing on display. Toledo serving notice to everyone with a big stomp there, full rotation.
Griffin Colapinto is on a different level right now. A perfect front five, no worries. Brian Perez giving the fans something to cheer about all the way through to the inside. What more do you want, people? Leonardo. Incredible series of powerful turns. Wow. Perfect layback jam right in the pocket. Aaron Mamiya flying down the line, doing a nice series of turns. Now he's building speed.
Oh,
now we're talking. Now we're talking.
We just completed the men's opening round. Now it's time to move on to the women's opening round. Caroline Marks uses her priority, slashes off the top, skates through a bottom turn there, slashing a third turn. Oh my,
that was crazy.
Katie Simmers, big stall in the air, frontside air grab. Carissa Moore, look at this wave, snaps off the top. Getting loose, Carissa Moore.
That right there was a savage cut for Stephanie Gilmore.
We are into the men's elimination round. World #2, Joao Chianca.
This copyrighted event broadcast is produced by the World Surf League for broadcast around the world and may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the written consent of the World Surf League.